Huge Palantir week. They got a new movie that came out, but also new deals, a last minute AIPCon event with a huge surprise, and many more that didn't make it into the daily videos. Now, looking at the stock first, Palantir actually ran up this week, getting us back into the $23 range. With so much news this week, it could just be the general excitement, but we'll see if this continues on to the next week. Now, first, Palantir had a new movie come out this week out in Germany called Watching You. It's more of a documentary style with its focus on the company, but also Alex Karp himself, the CEO. Now, there was an article associated with the trailer of the movie playing in the background, and it's not really surprising, but they don't really paint them in a good light. Karp is seen as an eccentric character that they try to paint as a warmongerer or an oxymoron, as well as Palantir and himself playing the political game out in Europe, trying to win deals and get implemented throughout Germany's police force. And Karp even gets some quotes in the article basically saying the filmmakers have talked to everyone he's been associated with, from protesters outside his house all the way to his PhD mother, to friends and colleagues, and many more. And that is basically the main focus of the film, considering the director and the release is out in Germany. So we'll do a movie review if we can get our hands on a copy to watch, but let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in watching this yourself. Then earlier in the week, we get the Tampa Bay general announcement. This honestly felt like out of nowhere considering it was sparse on the details, but later in the week, we actually do get much more clarity on the significance of this deal announcement. But essentially, Tampa Bay General, who has been a longtime customer in the past with Palantir for the past 30 months, has put it officially on paper that they are extending their deal with AIP. And this is for a whopping 7 years, which we'll come to learn later on during AIPCon 4. So great job on the Palantir team for locking them down, and it really shows the commitment they have to each other as partners and shows the potential stickiness of Palantir's platform, where an organization who is going through the pains of transformation see much more value, and that they commit to this long-term deal for software. Then, Palantir continues to show off their demos. They posted a 40-minute one called AI-Powered Master Data Management webinar, and this is with guests from McDermott Enthone, who is a global chemical company. When you have a chance to check it out, it's very detailed, but on for some perspective, Palantir has saved McDermott Enthone $200,000 in savings for one material throughout an improved negotiating leverage, as well as being able to process 3 times faster than before AIP for the regulatory formulation agreements. So there are real outcomes here, and they make sure to push AIP now at the end of the presentation, because other customers who see this can implement this themselves as well at their own organization. Then we got some new transactions from Palantir. They're offloading more Rubicon shares. The last day of May, as well as some in the early June, show they offloaded around 140,000 Rubicon shares. This is very tiny in comparison to the remaining 12 million shares, but this has been a pattern with them doing these little sells here and there. Now, I think they're insignificant, honestly, at this point, considering the value of Rubicon as a company. So yeah, the investment is already a wash, but who knows? There can be some qualitative benefits still of learning use cases and getting more folks with experience with Palantir's products out in the marketplace. Then, Palantir also this week held the annual general shareholder meeting. Now, voting-wise, we basically already saw the results here, just confirmed the directors and the accounting firm for Palantir. But they did intentionally put some time towards some Q&A or questions at the end with 2 main focuses. The first being that they continue to be optimistic about their growth in commercial with AIP, and they mainly highlighted the compression of deal signings because of AIP bootcamps and the real value the clients are seeing when they are attending these. So yeah, we still don't get an explosion in the official numbers from earnings, but management keeps touting this narrative that they see on the ground floor, that these bootcamps convert to paying customers for real. Then second is that LLMs continue to commoditize out in the marketplace. And they've been saying this for months, especially as we see more models coming out and updated ones from existing ones. So the amount of choice for enterprises to implement are becoming higher, meaning they can be choosier to the ones they actually use and need to pay for computing. And obviously, Palantir has positioned themselves on the other side of this and being the infrastructure play for enterprises. And that's to implement the LLMs they can switch in between. So always great to have an opinion on the marketplace from Palantir and confirming where they're positioned themselves. Then, out of nowhere on Wednesday, Palantir, right after market hours, released a statement that they will be doing an AIPCon on Thursday. The best part of this announcement is that we saw newer customer names to present, but also additional information on their AIP bootcamps and being able to run 500 bootcamps since the last AIPCon back in March. So in just 3 months, they've ran 500, and also the announcement of Palantir's developer community. And an extra piece too of bonus news along the announcement was that Surf Air Mobility got a PR out as well, presenting that on running a workshop out at AIPCon. So I didn't pay too much attention to this, honestly, but I'm assuming they were just trying to piggyback off the excitement for their own business, of course, considering Palantir does have shares of this company, although knowing if it will be valuable later on is probably a coin toss. Now, for AIPCon itself, I did a whole summary of the almost 2-hour event and compressed it down to 12 minutes, so check it out when you have a chance. But for this quick video summary, at least for the week, I've got for you, which is the biggest highlights. Karp doing his typical intro, but I'm also impressed he kept it pretty compressed and straight to business without much deviation. Then we went straight into the presentations, with the first 4 being AARP, who used Palantir to get better targeting amongst their tens of millions of members. Then Sompo, who highlighted huge savings in their insurance arm, with saving $60 million the past 3 years, but expect to save $100 million in the next 3. Then Northwind Technical Services, who showcased their demo and decided to fully integrate the modules they built with Palantir into their software and then pushing it to clients ultimately. And then Tampa General, who really doubled down with Palantir and re-signed for 7 years and have big plans with including them for the future plans. So then jumping to intermissions, we get the biggest surprise in my opinion. Amit got to be the host of the Palantir employee interview, covering a wide range of topics from their thoughts on the keynote speakers, AIP bootcamps, new products coming out like AIP evaluations, and the developer community, and much more. And all while this was happening, Karp had his interview with Yahoo Finance. The total interview is around 17 minutes long, but the main things that stood out to me was that this was not Bloomberg doing it, as well as pretty tame in comparison to past ones. I think it's because Karp did not want to distract away from the spirit of the event, but still got his 2 cents in about Palantir's place in the AI market and some quick perspectives on all geopolitical events and upcoming election for the United States. But then they went right back into the last 4 keynote speakers, with longtime presenters, Jacobs, who reveals their new workflows being posted on AIP now, but also an awesome mixed reality demo similar to Panasonic, where they field workers will get some augmented reality to monitor equipment and receive tasks. Then Fujitsu highlighting themselves as an implementation vendor for Palantir and even saving 1 billion yen or $65 million internally. Then Parexel makes huge strides in centralizing their data and cutting their data delivery time in half, which saves also 6 to 7 hours off every subject matter expert per study design, which is huge. And then the closer of the speakers was United Airlines, who has been a longtime customer since 2018, showing off their predictive maintenance, preventing the cancellation of over 170,000 passengers and other stats to boast, which I think is actually greatly timed out with all the fuss about Boeing planes. Then Friday, news broke that Palantir actually lost a £27 million deal with the UK government. Now, this was actually known by management from Palantir all the way back in September of last year, that they wouldn't, of course, renew in March. Note, it's super important, though, that they quote that this is due to budget reasons and not because of dissatisfaction with the service from Palantir. And interestingly, too, the UK is going to pursue building their own in-house tool instead. So I don't think it's a huge deal because it was known by management back in September, so I'm assuming statements and guidance already made took this into account. Plus, it's been publicly stated there's international headwinds for their business, so I think management covered this already. But in regards to building their own solution, the UK government can be seen as doing this politically first to help dissociate with Palantir's reputation, but not saying so here explicitly. Or maybe they truly think they can build their own solution for cheaper, or at least something that works. Considering Palantir's main role in the world is building software, I'm sure Palantir has done a better job, but it's also known they charge quite a premium and the stickiness to continue their services there, so we'll see if they come crawling back later. Now, S&P inclusion-wise, it didn't happen this time again. Nothing more to say really, but as I've been saying, it's not the make or break it for them to make it in right now, and it'd be an exciting tidbit if they were to actually do it now. Now, fundamentally, nothing changes, so it will happen naturally as Palantir continues to perform, hopefully, but you know, when it does, the extra reputational benefits wouldn't be so bad. So as long as they maintain the eligibility criteria, that's what matters the most, so I'll just keep an eye out for next time. But huge week for Palantir. Let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next video.